I can be quite generous.
I ask for nothing, master.
And you shall receive it in abundance.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 horror movies that bombed so hard they ruined careers.
You brought nothing but bad luck with you.
For this list, we'll be ranking the horror films, thrillers, and other horror-adjacent projects that suffered enough critical bashing or financial failure to knock those involved down a peg. We're not saying all these films are bad per se, nor did all of these individuals disappear off the map for good. However, the failures of these films certainly didn't help matters any. Do you feel like defending any of these films? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, I Know Who Killed Me. Lindsay Lohan. The response to 2007's I Know Who Killed Me has softened somewhat from the critical and commercial hammering it received upon release.
But it's possible we could be twins, right?
This is thanks largely to the film's trashy premise and execution, which some have compared to the Giallo films that were popular in 1970s Italy. However, the film put a severe halt upon star Lindsay Lohan's bankability as a lead.
No, I want to quit.
The actor would work primarily as a guest star for projects leading up to 2013's The Canyons, which sadly suffered a similar critical fate as I Know Who Killed Me.
I can't.
You can't?
I can't risk losing.
You're pathetic.
Number 9, Donnie Darko, Richard Kelly. The timing was immensely poor for 2001's Donnie Darko, with the film having been released in the United States only a month removed from September 11th.
Destruction is a form of creation, so the fact that they burn the money is ironic. They just want to see what happens when they tear the world apart.
The Columbine tragedy from 1999 also loomed large over the film's content, specifically with young people and guns. It seemed as if Donnie Darko was destined to be a cult classic right from the start, failing at the box office, yet thriving on home video.
I'm not going to be able to continue this conversation.
Why?
Director Richard Kelly's career wouldn't be able to capitalise upon Darko's critical success either, with his follow-up, 2006's Southland Tales, also struggling to find an audience.
I think I'm gonna rollerblade on home now because I don't really want to be involved in this anymore at all.
Number 8, I Spit on Your Grave. Camille Keaton.
What's your name?
Matthew Lucas. What's yours?
Jennifer. You can call me Jenny.
The career of Camille Keaton may be forever linked with I Spit on Your Grave from 1978, but it's important to contextualise other work she was doing around the same time. Keaton had earned positive attention for the stylish giallo murder mystery films she was making in Italy, such as What Have You Done to Solange?
You're Solange, aren't you?
It would be the film she made with her then husband, Meir Zaki, that would bring her international attention, while simultaneously underperforming at the box office. I Spit on Your Grave's graphic content would eventually earn a cult following on home video, but it also typecast and limited Keaton.
I knew you were going to like it here.
She continues working today, but her post-Spit filmography never capitalised upon that initial fame. Number 7, Peeping Tom, Michael Powell.
Horrible, but it's just a film, isn't it?
No.
The world wasn't ready in 1960 for Michael Powell's Peeping Tom. Horror films and thrillers were still largely set in the atomic age with giant, schlocky monsters. Instead, Powell seemed to have the same idea as Alfred Hitchcock: make a psychological thriller for the ages. Unfortunately, Peeping Tom was censored, criticised, and repudiated upon release, with Powell's creative reputation taking a serious hit.
Switch it off, Mark! Mark, switch it off!
The director would be labelled as a misogynist for the film's proto-slasher content, and Powell would partially pivot to television work during the late 1960s and into the 70s.
I wish I could have found your faces for you.
Today, however, Peeping Tom is largely considered to be an early horror classic, in the same conversation as Psycho for that time period. Number 6, Exorcist II: The Heretic, Richard Burton. The producers of 1977's Exorcist II: The Heretic should have known what they were getting into when they hired director John Boorman for the job. This was the same man who made Zardoz in 1974, after all.
I will not go to second level with you. I will... No!
Still, Exorcist 2 had a lot of star power going for it, including Richard Burton and a returning Linda Blair. The film's release had name recognition on its side as well, resulting in a slight financial return.
Let's stick to science.
Don't hide behind science, you're better than that.
The Heretic couldn't recover from its critical lambasting, however, and remains extremely divisive with Exorcist fans. Meanwhile, Burton's alcoholism and tobacco use were catching up with him. Despite being Oscar-nominated for Equus the same year, these performances served as his last notable ones before his death in 1984.
We don't want to hear about demons or God or anything. Just get out of here.
Number 5, Freaks, Todd Browning.
To me, you're a man, but to her, you're only something to laugh at.
Todd Browning was a certified Hollywood workhorse prior to helming Freaks in 1932. The man had directed dozens of films, so why was this one so different? Well, Freaks was another example of the material being just too ahead of its time, since Browning's picture is now largely considered to be a classic.
Well, what are you going to do? What are you, a man or a baby?
The film created an absolute hysteria back in '32, however, with some reports of people running out of test screenings due to the content on screen. Freaks was so controversial that the cuts made to the final prints are now considered lost.
How she got that way will never be known. Some say a jealous lover. Others, that it was the code of the freaks.
Meanwhile, Browning's reputation in Hollywood never truly recovered, and he only directed a small handful of films before retiring in 1942. Number 4, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, Barry Bostwick.
Michael Rennie was ill the day the earth stood still, but he told us where we stand.
Is The Rocky Horror Picture Show considered a cult classic today? Yes, absolutely. However, Barry Bostwick's career certainly took some blows during the immediate aftermath of its release. This was due to the film's initially poor reception amongst both critics and audiences. It wasn't until midnight re-releases, double bills, and word of mouth that the Rocky Horror phenomenon finally became what it is today. That said, Bostwick worked on 2 more bombs in a row, 1978's Movie and 1982's Megaforce. He wouldn't work in film again for another 8 years, although the modern day has thankfully seen Bostwick's profile survive and even thrive after this brief stumbling block.
So I'll remove the cause. But not the symptom.
Number 3, Alone in the Dark, Uwe Boll.
Being afraid of the dark is what keeps most of us alive.
But people always tell me not to be afraid.
On one hand, we have to admit that the theatrical failure of 2005's Alone in the Dark didn't immediately deter German director Uwe Boll from making more movies. On the contrary, Boll remained rather prolific until announcing his initial retirement back in 2016. However, the financial and critical failure of Alone in the Dark effectively put the kibosh upon any hopes that Boll might have had for a big commercial breakthrough in North America.
What's the warrant?
It says once you make it down here alive, you're already dead.
His follow-ups Blood Rain, Postal, and In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege Tale, all saw fewer and fewer American screens, with most of Boll's further output going direct to DVD.
It's all in the details, right?
Number 2, The Island of Dr Moreau, Richard Stanley.
What's going on? Where are we?
It's Moreau's Island. There's been a change of plans.
The crazy behind-the-scenes chaos surrounding the 1996 adaptation of The Island of Dr Moreau was so intense that a documentary was produced about the film in 2014. Director Richard Stanley was riding high upon the cult reputation of films like Hardware and Dust Devil prior to taking the helm for Moreau. However, tensions between Stanley, the studio, and star Val Kilmer became so problematic that New Line Cinema fired Stanley via fax. The director would then sneak back onto set in costume while Kilmer continued to be a problem, this time with fellow star Marlon Brando and replacement director John Frankenheimer.
The devil is that element in human nature that impels us to destroy and abase.
Stanley wouldn't direct another feature until 2019's Colour Out of Space, before domestic assault allegations once again derailed his career.
Oh my God, couldn't somebody have given me a comb? Jesus!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Troll 2. The cast.
We need a doctor, ma'am. Please call the nearest hospital.
There is no hospital in Nilbog.
It's unclear how many of those who answered an open casting call for Troll 2 held aspirations for full-time acting careers. One thing's certain, however, this film wasn't going to open any doors in that field. The in-name-only sequel to 1986's Troll was never intended as such, and has since earned a cult reputation as one of the best-worst films of all time.
They're eating her! And then they're going to eat me! Oh my God!
Today, Troll 2 endures as a bad movie classic, but its initially poor track record effectively ensured that no one who acted in the film had much of a career afterwards. Instead, stars like Michael Stevenson and George Hardy have continued to celebrate the cringeworthy legacy of Troll 2 as a truly WTF example of Italian genre cinema.
Choose, Elliot. Either me or your friends.
I don't understand.
Do you understand now?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.